Flurries of silvery snowflakes were blowing in the wind, sticking to the plate glass windows of Harte's and on the faces of the two pretty young women gazing so intently into those windows. Evan Hughes brought a gloved hand to her cheek and wiped the dampness away. Then she drew closer to Linnet O'Neill, shivering and hunching into her dark green Loden cape, feeling the sharp bite of the intense cold. Instantly Linnet glanced at Evan and exclaimed, "I'm so thoughtless dragging you outside to look at our windows on a day like this. You're freezing. Come on, let's go inside. We've seen enough." Linnet took hold of Evan's arm and hurried her towards one of the double doors leading into Harte's. "I'm all right, honestly," Evan protested as she was propelled across the floor of the cosmetics department, adding irately, "I'm not a cream puff, you know. I'm not going to melt away." "You've got guts of steel. I'm very well aware of that," Linnet shot back. "It just became frightfully cold all of a sudden, and if you catch a cold or get sick, Gideon will have my guts for garters." Evan burst out laughing, as usual amused by Linnet's penchant for quaint, rather odd sayings. She was frequently startled by the other girl's bluntness, as well as her pithiness, which could be quite stringent at times. Evan considered her recently discovered cousin to be unique. She had never met anyone quite like her, and in this past year of working together they had become close, the very best of friends. Moving through the eye-catching glamorous displays of cosmetics and perfumes, Evan felt her icy limbs beginning to thaw in the warmth of the store, and she loosened her scarf, opened her cape. Smoothing her hand over her huge, bulging stomach, she confided, "I feel like an enormous beached whale, Linny. I can't wait to give birth." Linnet's expression was sympathetic. "I know, but just imagine, Evan, you're about to have twins. Twins! You've certainly given Tessa, India and me pause for thought. We forgot that twins run in this family, that they're quite the norm. Andy had twins, and so did Mummy the first time around when she was married to Jim Fairley. It's only just struck us that we might also be candidates, have the same fate as you." Linnet smiled engagingly. "What do you think?" "We share a lot of the same genes, I guess, so you're probably right." "Julian's hoping so, and actually, so am I. It makes life easier having twins, 2 children born together, an instant family and less time off work." "Very well put," Evan responded softly, laughter filling her eyes. She couldn't help thinking that Linnet's inborn pragmatism inevitably came to the fore, but she admired her for being so down-to-earth. By now, the 2 women had arrived at a bank of elevators, and they stepped into one as soon as its doors slid open. Falling silent, they rode up to the management offices and hurried down the long corridor. When they reached the alcove in the centre, where the famous portrait of Emma Harte hung, the 2 of them automatically came to a standstill, looked at each other, smiled, and then briskly saluted their great-grandmother and moved on. It had become something of a ritual with them of late, whether they were together or alone. It signified their pride in being her progeny, and of working in the renowned store she had founded. A few minutes later, settled comfortably in Evan's office, Linnet said, "So, give me your opinion about the windows." "I have to agree with you. They are a bit outdated. Oh, they're beautiful, Linnet, of course, so well-dressed, and they do evoke the kind of image we want for Harte's, but they could be a bit fresher?" "Not enough pizzazz, perhaps," Linnet suggested. "Not pizzazz, that's not quite right for Harte's, is it?" "I suppose not," Linnet agreed, sitting back in the chair, her eyes on Evan, whose opinion she valued. Evan bit her lip, then shook her head. "I think the word I'm looking for is glamorous. I'm talking about the fashion windows per se, Linnet, and they ought to be just a tad more eye-catching and inviting. Listen, they should say something to the customer. They should say, 'Come in, try me on, buy me.'" Linnet nodded, her face lighting up. That's true. You've put...